Roman Reigns is on his way back to SmackDown, so we'll see what that could be like. We'll also check out what's going on with Charlotte, Bayley, and more. Let's start things off with what could be a devastating loss for the women's division. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka was taking place on SmackDown, and although this time around it was an ordinary non-title exhibition match, it still had some weight and meaning to it because it still is a WrestleMania rematch after all, and it has implications on Damage CTRL's ongoing storyline. But all those storyline implications were put on hold after what happened to be a devastating real injury for Charlotte Flair. Shortly after performing her signature moonsault, it was clear that something wasn't right for Charlotte's lower left leg and knee area. When Charlotte knew she was hurt, it looks like they readjusted and potentially changed the finishing to include Bayley coming up with a distraction and Asuka rolling up Charlotte Flair for the win. Charlotte was then seen yelling to referee Charles Robinson that the problem was with her knee. She couldn't stand or walk under her own power and was assisted by the medical team all the way to the back. Now, at this very moment of time, there's no confirmed word on what Charlotte's injury is. Fans are of course hoping for the best, hoping that nothing is more than just a little knee sprain. But at the same time, judging by Charlotte's reaction and the pain she was in, fans are still fearful that it may be the worst case scenario, a torn ACL, which is one of the most devastating knee injuries someone could suffer, and one of the worst injuries in general for any athlete. Just the complete destruction of the knee that takes anywhere from 6 to 9 months to fully recover. And most of the time, it's a freakish injury that happens out of nowhere. For example, look at Bayley back in mid-2021. She tore her ACL just from some training and was out of action all the way until SummerSlam 2022. We've also seen Dakota Kai and Nikita Lyons deal with torn ACLs in 2023. And it's just obviously a long road to recovery and so devastating to hear about those types of injuries, because we know how hard they work to be out there to get opportunities, and then just freak injuries like that come along and rob them of precious time in the ring. But for now, we'll have to hold out hope until more information becomes available on her status. Best case scenario, maybe she misses several weeks with a severe sprain. Worst case scenario, you're probably looking at 6 to 9 months recovery with any destruction and tears to the knee. This week also featured some more advancements to the Bayley story and Damage CTRL growing apart. So as we know, pretty much ever since Iyo Sky brought back Kairi Sane to WWE, the leadership role of Damage CTRL has basically shifted away from Bayley and has now went over to Iyo Sky. The group members always look at Bayley side-eyed and never appear to amuse with her ever, which has been fueling all these rumors, speculations, and fan theories that it's only a matter of time before they fully toss Bayley out once they fully realize that they probably don't need her. And the story has been pretty sad for Bayley over the last few weeks, and has pretty much been building sympathy for her character because of this downfall she's going through and continues to go through. She was once on top of the world as Damage CTRL's leader, making all the decisions and shot calling with Dakota Kai and Iyo Sky, almost never speaking out at all to contest Bayley's leadership. But now, the roles have completely flipped, to make Bayley seem like the pathetic and lonely outsider that's just trying her best to fit in and earn a spot within the group. But no matter what she does, it's never enough to please the group to let her fully back in and accept her. So the story has turned Bayley from this tyrant faction heel leader to almost a sympathetic babyface sort of character. The odds are stacked up against Bayley, and we're to assume that either once she screws them over or they kick her out, that'll be the start of the babyface turn for Bayley. And maybe that could end up being the major thing that Bayley does. Sort of like Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. Everyone thought that their story would end with obviously Roman and the Bloodline betraying Sami Zayn. But funny enough, that story ended with Sami Zayn actually betraying Roman Reigns and hitting Roman with the chair during a moment that Roman trusted him. It was a nice little twist and remix to what everyone was expecting. So similar thing here. Everyone is expecting for the group to brutally beat down Bayley and dispose of her. But what if Bayley went out on top and made a big statement during her group exit, like Sami Zayn? We've been seeing this theme in recent weeks of Bayley coming out to ringside to try and assist her Damage CTRL members by creating a distraction and getting involved. Sometimes Bayley is successful, and other times she's not so successful with her distraction. But what if Bayley's big moment is coming out to act like she's going to try and cause a distraction to assist Iyo Sky on successfully defending her title, and maybe the rest of the Damage CTRL members are knocked out and unavailable? So despite being cold towards Bayley for weeks, Iyo realizes that Bayley is her last hope and tries to be friendly and get Bayley to help her in that desperate time of need. And maybe that's when Bayley could purposely cost Iyo Sky the match, the title, leave the group, and fully turn babyface all within the same moment. So if they're going down a route similar to that, it'll always be a lot of fun to watch unfold. It'll also be the first time that Bayley will be a babyface since back in 2019. So going on nearly 5 years of not seeing Bayley as a babyface, some fans are very intrigued to see what the character would look like after all these years. And it's highly unlikely that Bayley will ever revert back to her hugger persona. WWE is all about evolution and evolving your character over the years. Obviously, no one ever stays the same version of their characters forever, and you very rarely do see someone go back to their previous persona. There are some exceptions though, like Undertaker, Triple H, Hulk Hogan, and a few others. You can argue that they flirted with different types of characters, but eventually came back to the personas that had the most success. But for the most part, a majority of superstars constantly evolve into new eras and different new versions of themselves. And that's why this 2023-2024 babyface version of Bayley will obviously be new and probably have nothing in common with the old hugger version of Bayley. So it'll be a new character and a new era for Bayley once she leaves Damage CTRL. And as far as the December 8th edition of SmackDown goes, we once again saw the group demand Bayley to stay backstage and stay all alone. Now Bayley was successful in assisting Asuka in the win, but it's uncertain if that outcome changed due to Charlotte's injury. So we'll have to see how that story adjusts to that. But despite Asuka in the win, it looks like this story will continue to go in the direction of Bayley and the group growing apart. Randy Orton has embarrassed the bloodline for multiple weeks in a row, and everyone knows that's the #1 way to really make Roman Reigns spawn in. And it's now confirmed, Roman Reigns will be returning on the December 15th show, for the first time since the week of Crown Jewel. So there'll be lots for him to catch up on, including Jimmy and Solo's recent failures and embarrassing performances, as well as the new threat and problem with Randy Orton. With Roman and Randy both scheduled to appear on the December 15th edition of SmackDown, it looks like this will be the absolute official starting moment of their Royal Rumble feud. We can definitely expect to see Roman and Randy most likely come face to face with each other on that edition of SmackDown. And we know that Randy just made a new ally with LA Knight. So we'll see if the two of them will continue to cause trouble for Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.